Welcome to the Princeton Podcast, where we talk about upcoming events, news, and local businesses. This is Princeton. Play here, stay here.
Before we get started today, just a reminder to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We're also recording on YouTube, so be sure to subscribe at This Is Princeton MN. There's also a TikTok account where this mom has young children, and I think she's a reporter for her day job.
Oh, yeah.
And have you seen that?
Yeah.
And she'll be like, she just recently did one about balloons. And
Really?
she was like, since, I don't know, in the last 2 years, balloons have become much easier to inflate and fill with water. And then she shows an example, and she said, this just in, the kids do not like picking up the balloons after they've been thrown. And in fact, they are upset because you will get wet. I repeat, you will get wet if
Yeah.
you throw water balloons.
And like her original
Then
video,
she'll show like kids like, wah,
her first video, right, that like went viral and made her known was like the standing outside my child's room.
Yeah, and she was throwing a fit inside.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That was good.
And she's like, this is mom reporting live from my
Outside
daughter's bedroom, where she has just been informed that she is not able to go to, a friend's house or something.
Oh, I just saw something on Facebook yesterday that said thoughts and prayers for my son, who's been playing video games all day and was just asked to unload the dishwasher.
I love it. All right.
Okay,
Well,
we should probably start.
thanks guys that was our little event preview sneak peek there. That's a bonus. But welcome back to the podcast. This podcast is brought to you by the Princeton Area of Commerce. Please check us out online on our website at thisisprinceton.co. And today we have Mary, Kim, and Zach.
This is PrincetonMN.co.
Didn't I say that?
And Princeton Area Chamber of Commerce and Tourism.
Should I just restart?
No, that's
It's
great.
fine. It's fine.
Today our podcast is going to look a little different because it is just the three of us today. We are going to spend time on today's podcast talking about social media and particularly the comments people make.
We talked about this for a long time. Like all the comments, negative comments really, that end up on social media. What do you do with them? Do you respond to all of them? Do you delete them? Do you hide them? Do you ignore them? What is the protocol when negativity strikes?
Well, and I think Zach, you own a company called Kidsman Creations.
Mm-hmm.
And so tell us a little bit about that before we get started and what you do and why you engage in social media
Yeah.
and what you do for your job.
Absolutely. So let's back it up a little bit. I've worked with social media, I guess, for quite a while. I think in 2017, I started my first actual Instagram page that wasn't like my personal profile.
In your teenage years, then.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere around there. And I started getting very invested in it and thought it was really cool. I saw a bunch of people making money on it, so it got my attention. And we, in a span of 2 years, we grew a theme page. It was a business theme page. We grew it to 250,000 followers, and we were
Wow.
reaching 12 million people in a month. It was just ridiculous. And this was when Instagram was in a stage where you could reach a lot more people, and there wasn't such filters of quality control. So when people that followed you, they saw your content usually when you posted it.
Yep.
If you posted something, it was the first in their feed. Whereas now you can post something and it might not show up in your feed at all.
At all.
It might,
All the
there's-
algorithms.
yeah, there's a bunch of hoops and hurdles, but since then learned a bunch. Had Instagram coaching, hired other people to learn more, bought courses, and then just got a bunch of hands-on experience with that page, and then started working with other businesses and helping them grow their accounts and learning what did not work, and then tweaking it and testing and trial, and then finding finally what does work. And then that's just the process that you have to do sometimes with certain pages is trial and error, see what works, what doesn't, and then look back, see what worked, and then double down on it.
Right.
Rinse and repeat. So worked with social media now for 4 or 5 years. And, yeah. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Mary, you work with social media every day, all the time, constantly.
Constantly, I'm on my computer or my phone all day, every day, pretty much.
Because you tell us what you do in
So
your business.
I do a lot of similarity to what Zach does. I do social media management for small businesses. So I create their content and post it and boost it and run ads. And I do not, however, respond to comments. Like, I leave that up to the business owner because I don't know how they would respond.
We'll
or
get to the comments here in a second.
Yes.
We'll get to the comments.
Okay.
One sec.
This
Just
is
a little
what
bit
it's
of
going to be.
back-
But
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't. So I just post the content and I will run ads and boost it. And then I post their ads on community bulletin boards and really drive people to, if they have a website, I drive people to their website or back to their Facebook page and do all sorts of fun stuff. But basically just keeping their pages active because they don't have time to do it.
Yeah.
So I do it for them.
Yeah, we work together as well with local businesses too, with like Erex Motor Park in Elk River. We work together by running their social media, but other part of my business actually is where it really originated was creating content with like creating videos.
Yep.
And then it was we would create videos for social media, so we needed to figure out what worked, what didn't work, because if you just created a video for somebody and they posted it and it flopped, like it doesn't really.
What's the point?
Yeah, like one video, I think I've talked to you about this before, is like you could give someone a video, let's just say 30-second video, one could be worth $100 and one could be worth $10,000. And like if you were to ask like how could that even be possible, it would be, well, what does that video do for that business? Is it valuable? Is it not? Is it just what is it doing? Is it going to improve? Is it getting leads? Is there a Facebook ads campaign running behind it? Is there a way to follow up with people? Is it selling a product? Like, there's a lot of questions. So we had to figure out how to use the videos properly, which came into learning how to market, which then was like video marketing, and then analytics and all this stuff, and it just all came.
Yeah, there's a lot
Yeah.
to it, a lot of
Yeah.
monitoring and, raw versus editing and so much
Sound design.
goes into it.
And the three of us then make up our tourism advisory committee.
Yep.
Which reports to our chamber board of directors. And so the three of us then have This is Princeton, the Facebook page, Instagram, YouTube. And my background is years ago, I was a marketing director for a nonprofit. And so I learned a lot there, went to some classes, but things change so quickly and have changed so quickly with social media. I think you just have to constantly be
That's a good
reading
point.
and, keeping up to date on things and how, because I feel like you are way more into Instagram, meaning you are more active there, and where I feel like I have a harder time quite understanding Instagram, and I'm more of a Facebook, and I think that's my age group too. But anyway, so we kind of talk about this a lot with tourism, and it's come up because, we'll get certain comments, and we all, I think, think we should handle them differently. And that's what's kind of interesting about, I have been one to kind of ignore them until recently, because I just have gotten to this point where I feel like you are coming on my page. And that's something I kind of want to discuss too, is that you're coming on my page and saying something negative, I'm going to respond to it. Mary, you've kind of been more of the school of thought where you can hide it. So I don't know if people know this, but you can hide a comment.
Right.
And the person who made the comment doesn't know can't be seen, but nobody else can see it.
Yeah, they're the only ones that can
They're
see
the only
it.
ones that can see it. And Zach, you are of the what's the word I'm thinking of?
Mindset.
Mindset.
Have the mindset.
Of it's engagement. Who cares if it's negative?
Yeah.
But at least we're getting engagement.
Right.
So
And like to a point, like if it's going to affect brand quality, like obviously that's probably not okay, right?
Right.
But at a certain point, yeah, I think some of it is just let them chat.
yeah, right. So I just found it. I think that one thing, we've been contacted too by other big organizations in our community about this exact thing,
Yeah.
because I think two agencies in any community, the school district and the city, probably are the most attacked, I would say. And it gets to the point where they're not just attacking the agency, they're attacking an individual person, you know? And so it's kind of come up where, is there any way to address it? Is there any way to somehow tackle it, you know? And I don't know.
I guess it would go back to what you want to do, right? Like if you want to combat it, right, head on, or if you want to hide them, or if you just want to let them fly. It just depends. I think you'd have to start with one of those of like
Right.
what you want to do with it, and then come up with a plan. Because if you can set up automatic blockers too for certain keywords and like, so then you can do it that way. You could turn off comments altogether, and then you don't ever have to really
Yep.
deal with it. But
then you get no engagement.
yeah, and it looks kind of weird if you ever come across a page
Yep.
and like there's
There's something going on.
Yeah,
you
like,
know
what?
something suspicious.
Like if you come across a product or an ad and they turn their ads off or their comments
Comments?
off, you're like,
Yeah.
Yep.
oh, they're
it's
hiding.
probably not a good
Yeah,
product.
They're hiding something.
Yes.
Like, so
But
then
it's-
that brings that level of trust. It comes down.
Yep.
So
But if you're making like an announcement, I can't remember, there was at one of the cities that I follow made an announcement. And right away I was like, oh my God, they didn't turn comments off. This is going to be crazy. And I can't remember what it was. But it was something that could definitely go political.
Yep.
And there was, boom, 100 comments. And, you know, like when you're making an announcement about something, it's appropriate to not do comments because I feel like people, you know, they want to just like, the
Somehow
only thing is
dig into
negative.
it,
The only
yeah.
thing that it can happen is it's negative. And if you want to get an announcement out, I think it's okay to turn comments off on that. But it depends on the situation.
It does. And so what is your feeling on, this was a situation I saw just last week, and it was on someone's personal page, and it was over politics, but she had posted something like I don't know, you know, one of those little quotes or something on her page, and it was something political, and on her own personal page, and then somebody else commented against her post. And the original poster said, basically, this is really in a nutshell, get off my page.
Yeah.
I don't need your comments
right.
on my page. And the commenter wrote back, boy, are you ever privileged? And I thought, well, that was a stupid comeback, because what does that have to
Yeah.
do? But I thought, what is your feeling on that? When people are coming to your page, I feel, you know, a lot of it happens on the Facebook bulletin boards, which are really tough to monitor. But when they're on your page, I feel that's
your
like,
business page, your
Yeah.
personal page.
you
your,
came on
like,
my page and started attacking me.
yeah,
That's where I feel like,
or being
no.
rude or
Yes.
whatever. Like,
I just get this, you know, well, no, you didn't. you
So-
know, and I feel
That's
like
what I
have
want to do. I like to respond to things like
Yes.
that and then just make sure they saw it and then just delete it all.
And then you delete it.
Just want them to see it. I just want them to see my response.
to a certain point, I think it is, like, say a service or a product, or maybe it's like really bad information. I think it is appropriate to be like, hey, you are actually wrong here. This is actually what we do, or this is not true. Like, I do think that responding to certain comments like that can lead to confusion or maybe even safety concerns need to be addressed.
Well, I mean, I think something that recently came up, and I felt I took it too far, because it was a no-win situation, but it was a thing again where I felt like you came on this person. The situation was the big duck on Sunday had to come down.
Yeah.
And there was many comments about, thanks a lot, you didn't even post it. You didn't even let us know it was canceled.
I love that.
You know, but it's like, yes, we did. And again, like you guys were talking about, the algorithms, for one, may not have shown up. Secondly,
And we ran ads.
yes.
So,
but
like, not only are we organically posting,
yes.
we are also paying to get.
Well, this is the
Exposure.
cancellation they were mad about.
Okay, I thought you were saying just
yes.
a big duck.
No.
'Cause I've heard that before too.
Yes,
And they're
well,
like,
we
well, I
didn't know
didn't hear
anything
anything
about
about
it.
It's like,
Yes.
okay, well, get out of your rock, I
Yes.
guess. I don't know.
Yes. But this was, you didn't announce it was canceled. And that day, CenturyLink went down, which somehow caused the AT&T towers in our area to go down, which I use. And it was so difficult to get it out there. But we did. We did get it out there. Whether or not people saw that in time, I don't know.
Right.
We
But
did the best we could.
we did the very best we could.
especially people who didn't have AT&T
Yes.
I'd also like to mention that had nothing to do with the amount of people that were in
Had
town.
nothing to
That was
do.
another thing that
Yes,
got spread. There's
exactly.
so many people in town that now the cell phones don't work.
Right. That
Not
was
true.
untrue. And so I just posted like a general post that we have done basically the best that we can do. Don't, feel free to leave your negative comments. We're going to delete them. Like, that's kind of what my post was. I was so angry. I was so tired. And people were just coming at us in person at the event and online. And one person in particular just kept copying and pasting, wherever it was posted, copying and pasting. And finally, I deleted one of his comments because it was just everywhere.
Yeah.
But I was still engaging him on another post.
What did the comment say?
Something about don't waste your time. They didn't announce it. It was just something, it was just so negative. It wasn't like, this event got canceled. Make sure that you don't, it was just, it was,
Well, and it's
What
okay
a
to be like,
waste.
bummer,
yes.
shoot.
Absolutely.
That is a huge, that
What a waste.
sucks.
They didn't announce this anywhere. And
Yeah.
his argument was like, I have every right to express my feelings of disappointment. 100%. I said, and I even said that you do. It was disappointing for everybody, but you are going around
Sure, go
and
post on your
copying and
page.
pasting
Yeah.
everywhere. Don't waste your time. And we went back and forth to the point where he's like, you are so unprofessional. And, because I was posting as the chamber. And then I thought, yeah, you're probably right. This is getting to be too far.
What if every comment that someone left on someone else's page automatically got put on their own feed, on their own story, so everyone could see the kind of stuff that they say?
Yeah, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Because there are some people out there that's all they do.
Right.
It tends to be the same people.
Yeah, that's what you call a troll, right?
Yeah.
They just
But
monitor it.
I think what is hard about it, for me, that event was an extreme amount of work and planning. By the fourth day or whatever it was, I was so exhausted. And the 90% of the people were so positive about
Yeah.
it. But I finished that weekend feeling like it was a failure because 10% of those people, a small, probably not even 10%.
Not even.
Probably-
Probably not
probably
even
3%.
5. Yeah.
were
Yeah.
leaving these comments.
And are really loud.
And they're loud. And one guy said, I drove an hour. I'm going to be sending you a bill for my time and my gas. Just things like that. And I don't understand why that
I'm gonna give you my
sticks
bill
with you.
for my headache that you're giving me too,
Exactly.
so-
You're in the mindset like, here's my address. And then you open the door, pop.
Yeah. I just
Throw a
feel,
punch in.
and I don't know why that is. It just makes you feel, it took a good week before I could kind of come out of that funk and say, this was a good event.
Right.
No matter how many times people said it, it's those negative comments that stick with you. And that's kind of where I'm to the point where, how can we stop some of this?
Yeah.
And the misinformation, the cell phone thing, the fact that a thing went around that we spent $120,000 to $150,000 on the duck, that could not be further from the truth. We would have to empty all of our bank accounts at the chamber, and we still probably wouldn't be able to pay for it.
It's not even close.
Not to mention, it was sponsored.
It was sponsored. We had businesses just step up immediately, and I think they felt it was very worthwhile.
Yes.
Well, all the businesses saw like a 100% increase in their
Yes.
sales at least.
Yes,
like
it
some
was
people were
huge.
doubling their profit. So
And that was just going on and on and,
and that's
on.
going back into your community. So like,
Yes.
stop complaining so much.
It's just, I don't know. And
Anything
then-
to complain about, those are the people, but you just want to shut them down.
I know. So that's where I come back to with you guys about what is the right way for businesses to respond. I don't know. I wish this was a call-in because a lot of times if instead of that person saying, hey, I heard this was $120,000, how about call the chamber and find out and then just let it go?
I think people don't want to find out though. I think it's actually the fact that people just would rather stir the pot, and that's their
Why?
It must give them joy.
How?
I think it's.
I don't know. I have
Revs
no
them up.
understanding. It really, like,
'Cause
we
they can,
eventually
like,
laughed about it,
common sense. I would go and find out the truth.
Yes.
Through you, instead of down the line conversation of this happened or I heard this and then I'm gonna say this. Do you have any factual checks? Do you have any,
Right.
in school? Did they ever have you reference any of your stuff that you wrote?
Right.
what's your reference?
Yes, exactly.
Is there a
And now is
reliable
that just
source?
out the door?
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely. It's just out the door because everyone can comment so fast, like so fast on social. And just like when we had Todd on the podcast too, talking about how people just want to be the first to like say something,
Yeah.
or first to share it, or first to comment, and
They're first at the scene to take
like
a picture.
whether
Yeah.
it's right,
Yeah.
whether it's right or wrong, like they're just
They don't care.
I think it's an attention thing too.
Yeah, I think it might be. But I also feel like, you know, we recently did a podcast with Williams Dingman, which, by the way, this morning they said they've gotten some great traction from that, and we're super appreciative. But the three of us were looking at the comments on one
Yeah.
little clip recently
Yep.
about hospice, and people just felt they had to say, like, the one person that started off with, no, this is not true.
Yeah, well, let's give context to the video. He was saying that some people that he has dealt with in hospice were not afraid to die.
They were ready.
His
They were
personal
ready.
experience.
Yeah, it
is
was
what he was
his
talking
experience.
about.
Yep.
Yep.
And I get that, and I actually understand that. Like, especially with my belief in Christ, like I'm not afraid of that. Mm-hmm. And so we have these people commenting on this post and going way just left field, like way off.
Yeah.
Like, well, this person hospice, my father died because they didn't take care of him
Yeah.
and they killed him. Basically, it's murder. Like all this stuff.
Yes.
You're like, what?
Yeah.
What?
And just to start it off,
And then
that's
they go,
not
"Not
true.
true."
Yeah,
Yeah.
what's
Not
not
true.
true?
That's
I mean, that's someone's experience.
right.
What do you mean it's not true?
Right.
I
It's like-
just,
It's like telling someone like
I don't
your
get it.
feelings don't that those are wrong.
right.
Like excuse me.
I know. And the other thing is
Yeah,
how,
there was a comment on there that said about like the person that she knew in hospice was not ready to die and they were scared. So it's basically like saying, nope,
doesn't happen.
everybody's
Everyone's afraid.
Yep.
Everyone's wrong.
Yep. It's wrong. And so I guess, Zach, your take on that, in addition to being it's ridiculous, is just leave it. Because Mary, immediately you were like, delete those. And you were like, no, just, it's engagement. So, and I talked to someone else this morning that said, no, it's really hard to get engagement sometimes.
It's
So
true.
even if it's negative, just leave it. But it's hard for me, especially if it's, because for me, I just want to comment on there. This is his experience. That was yours.
Yeah.
That doesn't make yours right or wrong or his right or wrong.
Right.
It's just their experience.
And it might start leaning that way to actually combating or communicating or leaving your side of the story on it too. Because from another viewpoint, if I go on a page and I go look at the comments of something and it's just a bunch of negative ones, right? I will sometimes look to see where the author replied to
Yes.
the people, and you get to actually see a lot of insight into like their personal page and like who they are, and it's almost
Yes.
like you gained a different level of respect for that person,
or not.
or not, right? Depending on how they handle it. right?
Yes.
Like that's also, I think, a good way too to build more of a personal relationship. Because if you're on the side, if you agree with them, right? Like this is silly. This is a lot of people can both agree that most of these comments are silly.
Yep.
But then it's like, who's going to respond? Who's going to do that? And you're like, oh, I see that Kim is responding to these people and sticking up for her page. Like, I agree with Kim. I appreciate her doing that. Because a lot of people don't.
Isn't it interesting though?
And then
It
like,
adds another.
It's like,
But it also adds another form of engagement.
it does add
They're
another
liking your
form.
comment.
But isn't it interesting that most people will not stick up for the right thing?
Mm-hmm.
On those long, it's just negative, and
Because
you
they're
might
afraid of,
respond.
like, attack.
Yes,
They don't
they're
wanna be attacked.
afraid,
They're like,
and
"Oh,
it
that's
is
me."
scary. It's 100% scary. And this was the first time I really experienced that at the chamber. We don't normally get trolls, but this was a huge public event. And so it was a new experience for me. And in some cases, I felt I handled it fine. In other cases, I didn't. It was a real learning
Right.
experience for me.
Yeah, because if I advise my clients to, how do I respond to this? And I always just say, just keep it as positive as you can,
Yeah.
and stick to the facts.
Yes.
Don't attack back. Just say, thanks for the comment.
You know who
Even
did-
though you want to be like,
Right.
are you,
Yeah.
just thank you for commenting. I appreciate it. Here's the fact.
Jeremy from Throttle Therapy, he does such a good job at responding to negative comments.
Like turning them.
Oh my gosh.
turning them positive.
Yes, so he gets comments. He has a channel. It's about building and working on scooters, right? So all these other people have their comments of like, "Wow, that was stupid," or "That's wrong," or blah blah blah, or like, "I can't believe," like, anyways, all these similar comments, right? The way he responds is so nice. The other people, like, I almost feel like you'd almost feel bad for saying it.
Yes.
So he's so nice.
That's
when he
what I
responds.
try to do,
And it's
but-
like, if you can do that, like, kill him with kindness.
Well, then you might get a sorry about that.
Yeah. And he
It's
has.
I have gotten
He has
that
gotten
before.
that. Yeah.
And then
it's
I
like-
delete all. He deletes it. I
And-
delete it.
And that
it's
might
gone.
be like the way
Yeah.
to do it, is just like show as much kindness to that person as possible.
Just
Like,
kill 'em
"Hey,
with it, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you feel that way. Like, if I could change it, I wish I could.
And you want the public to see something like,
Right.
what can I do to resolve this?
Right.
Yes.
You know,
It's-
even though like behind the scenes, you're like, I'm not giving his money back. I'm not,
Right.
Reach out to me and we'll see how we can resolve
Yes.
this. Because you want public to see that, but
And oftentimes I'll say, reach out to the chamber. Here's the phone number, and then
Yeah.
it ends it because nobody wants to talk face to face. And I actually, there was one on here about that I'd written down. That somebody said we'd shared a ribbon cutting for the city of Princeton when they did the addition to the disc golf at Reeby Park. And somebody, the very first comment on the page, on the picture was, "I think the guy you had designed this course was stoned. Probably make sure your signs face the right directions." And I just thought, you know what? This is a huge celebratory moment. There was somebody from outside the city of Princeton that came to the city and said, "I'd like to help design this new course."
Right.
Doing this is going to allow us to have tournaments here, bring more people in, spend money. I mean, all positive things.
Yeah.
So they worked together, and that's the first comment. So I responded, rather than making remarks such as these on Facebook, we recommend you call the city of Princeton with some constructive ideas. There are also often park board positions available. Applications are available at City Hall. Please also don't forget there are real people behind the scenes working hard on these projects. Let's work together to make our community great.
Well said.
yes.
And somebody said, well said, and I got a lot of likes.
or B,
but-
he in fact was not stoned.
Right. I mean, I just feel like what is going on inside the minds of these people that you would, because my initial reaction was I wanted to write, maybe you did the course backwards. It's possible. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure the course is not designed
Were you
backwards.
stoned?
Yeah.
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 Well, let's get into a couple more examples right after this commercial break.
Okay.
Sounds good. If you're a Princeton business that wants to increase your social engagement, influence purchase decisions, and build a stronger brand presence in Princeton, we want to work with you. We are offering 10 to 15 dedicated reels for your business and or a whiteboard animation, a featured spot on the Princeton podcast, your logo featured on our website, social collaborations on our social channels with over 6,000 followers, an email blast to over 400 active chamber members. Last but not least, we are guaranteeing over 15,000 views for your business and your brand and your product. And due to this claim, we're only offering this for 3 businesses. So if this is something that you want to do, please contact Kim at the Chamber to learn more information. Hope to work with you soon.
And we're back.
Tell us, Mary, about your experience or any examples that you have that were.
So I was thinking about this the past couple days, and I remembered something that happened to me years ago, and I think it was when we were trying to pass a referendum, or the school district was, so I jumped on board and helped the committee, and so we had a Facebook page, and this was this had to have been like 10 years ago. Irrelevant. But anyway, there was a guy, or no, it was a girl, I don't know who it was, but they were commenting on facts, and they were making it like, that's not true, that's not true, that's not true. So then I would go back as the page administrator, so it wouldn't show my name, and I would just say, that's not true, here's the fact. That's not true, here's the fact. Or actually, this is how it works. And this person would they wouldn't stop. They would not stop. So I logged out and went in as my personal self and started commenting. And then it got personal. Like, we were going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And this person was just being mean.
Yeah.
And they were just coming up with all these lies. And I'm thinking, where are you getting that?
Right.
And I would comment, show your source.
Right.
Because that's not true. This is what's true.
Yeah.
This is what's fact. You can find it here. You can find it here. You can call the superintendent. You can you can verify all of these things that I'm telling you right now.
Right.
It's the truth.
Yes.
And this person was just spreading these lies, and other people were believing it. Mm-hmm. And they were jumping on board. And anyway, I kept calling. I just kept saying, "Nope, here's the truth. Here's the truth," and I would prove it.
Yeah.
So this person just kept getting more mad at me because they were getting proved wrong.
Right.
And so they eventually went to my personal Facebook page. We're not friends. This person wasn't even from Princeton, which made me even more mad.
Right.
And he or she went to my Facebook page and came back and commented on that post and said, "I just visited your profile page, and it looks like you could eat a cheeseburger. Bye." And that was the end.
Thanks. What kind of cheeseburger?
And like,
Cold.
yeah. I was like, with fries too?
Yeah, yum.
And then that's how they ended it.
That's
Like,
how, just like try to get a mean dig.
yes, so they went to my personal, they went there to see if they could find what type of person I was and see if they could come back and be like, "Oh, I see you're part of, this political group
Yeah,
or this political group, or you're a teacher." Like they
Right.
wanted to get information that they could come back and be like, "This is why she's saying all this stuff." But instead,
But
they
couldn't
see,
find it.
No, so they just based it off one of my pictures and said, "It looks like you could use a cheeseburger." Like, ooh, burn.
What? Kim, what was that one about the splash park that you had got?
Actually,
That's
that's the one I wanted to give you guys I wanted to see how you guys would respond to this.
Yeah, I want to hear that one again.
Okay, so you know how sometimes posts get, somebody starts a post with whatever, and it just spins off and spins off and spins off with the people that like to post negative comments, and they just spin it. So the post was about how much did it cost to bring the duck here. You look it up on the duck's website, and it's $120,000. Could use that money elsewhere, don't you think? Okay, that eventually led to a whole corrupt tax system imposed by Princeton, paying off and hiring corrupt people in power, attempting to take over adjoining townships to increase their corrupt might under the guise of making life better. That led to, when will Splash Park be free and not a prisoner park that is gated to keep children out of the park?
Wow.
That's what it eventually got to.
What was that last line again? A prisoner park?
A prisoner park.
Yeah, Splash Park, being a
Splash
prisoner park.
Prisoner park. Why do you think it is a prisoner park?
When is Splash Park going to be free and not a prisoner park that's gated to keep children out?
You want
So
it just
do they
completely
mean-
free.
So they don't want the fence up. And they just want it to be free like the playground is at Mark Park.
Yes.
Is that what they're getting at?
And there are splash pads around, the area that are free, but I believe it's not expensive.
It's like
I don't know,
$2
$2
or
or
something.
$3. I can't remember. And they get so many sponsorships from businesses that pay for it for free.
There's free days all the time.
And the gate actually keeps the children in so that they don't run away.
So they're
So it's safe
safe.
for parent. They're
Right.
safe.
The only reason they want the gate down is just so they can have it be free.
Yeah.
So they can just walk out.
Yeah.
But
And
literally,
the
how much
majority
did
of
the duck
kids that
cost?
are there are like toddlers and 3 and 4 year olds that shouldn't
Yeah.
be going to the park, like shouldn't be running back and forth by
Right.
themselves. That's
No.
the majority of the kids.
And it's just this drama, starting out with misinformation about the duck costing $120,000 to about how the city's corrupt, which, by the way, the duck was not rented by the city of Princeton. It was rented by the Chamber of Commerce, and it was entirely sponsored by businesses, entirely.
Right.
And
So
it wasn't
AKA,
even close.
It did not come out of your pocket. So
No.
relax.
Guess how
The
much it
ch- yeah.
cost the chamber? Kim, how much did the duck cost the chamber?
Ended up costing $500.
Oh, I thought you were going to say zero.
Well, it ended up because of we had to get a roll-off dumpster.
Oh, that's right. 'Cause there was so much
It was
garbage.
it was going to cost us $0 or maybe $100, but in the end,
Right.
it cost us $500.
Right.
Amazing.
So $500 versus $100,000.
Yeah.
And okay,
120.
reality, people, check, get your facts. Just
And
come
I
on.
just feel like it's all about anything that people can say. Todd gets that too.
Yeah.
I pay your salary,
Yeah.
so you can't do anything to me. I pay your salary. I mean, people.
Oh, yeah.
It's
and
just
the traffic. And then it turned into like courthouse comments.
Yes, about the traffic being bad that day. And it's just, I just wish I could figure out why society is so negative. And
Yep.
maybe it's really just the 10%, and they're so loud.
It's because that's 100% right. It's because they're so loud.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah.
They all need to pick up a Bible.
But it does hurt your heart. It does
Be
hurt your
kind.
heart.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
Because you work countless hours.
Well, what's the golden rule?
Be
Oh,
kind.
be kind. Yeah.
Treat
Do you- the
everyone-
one like you'd want to be treated.
Yeah, but no one does that.
No.
No one
Well,
wants.
not when they're behind their computer.
Right.
That's the problem.
That is the problem. As soon as I say, and I did with the guy that I was going back and forth with that called me unprofessional, I did say, you know, and I was being totally honest. Why don't you give me a call so that we can chat about this instead of going back and forth on Facebook? I have no interest in calling you,
know
or
what I-
talking to you.
It's entertaining though for other people.
It's true.
You know what I think it really is? What it comes down to is when you're in person, and some people still do this, but like the reason why I think less people say what they have on their mind or their negative comments in person is the actual feedback and reaction of that other person. And they're reliable. And like right here, if we
Yeah.
had a conversation, I started just dissing you about
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Like I can now feel your anger, your emotions, all this stuff. Like you're in the moment and you're having that connection.
Right.
The connection of the tension and everything, right? Versus online, there is none of that.
No.
They can say whatever they want and then close their phone. Like,
And frankly,
They can-
sometimes you can misread a comment.
oh, for
I
sure.
mean, it wasn't even intended to be as negative as it sounded.
But
That's
they're
like email,
free
too.
will,
Yeah,
like,
email
they
too.
can just- They can say whatever they want without any like repercussion.
None.
Right.
So is there
then,
is there anything that can be done about that?
I don't know.
I mean, what's the right thing to do? What's the right way to respond?
Nicely.
I mean, I really like that where you were saying that, is it Jeremy?
Yeah, Jeremy.
Yeah, that responds just kill him with kindness.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
that-
so kind.
Yep, that would be my advice to any
And even
business
get-
owner. Like,
and
even
do
giving
not
them-
get into it with anybody.
It's hard.
You know,
It is
if you,
hard.
you can go to Messenger or you can go, like I said, like when I went back to, I logged out and went back to my personal self.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't want that business name out there, like, oh, all they do is pick fights. There's a couple of businesses
Right.
around here that I
Yes.
see fighting with people on bulletin boards. And that just puts a bad name, like, because people aren't going to know who that is, but they might not call them for a quote.
Right.
Because they're like, oh, they're sitting behind
Yeah.
a desk at their office fighting with a customer.
Or
I
that-
know.
You know?
And I was
like-
afraid of that for the chamber too, because I was getting.
Also, you're going to be heated. Like, you're going to say
Yep.
things that you're not going to, like, if anyone's ever been angry before
Yeah.
and said something they didn't mean,
You're right.
right? Like, you're going to
That's
end
never
up,
happened
and
to me,
now,
but-
yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah, for sure. But then now that's on the internet, and it's there
It
for everyone
is,
to
and it-
see.
it
So it's
just-
like you don't just be mindful of what you're posting. But yeah, I think killing them with kindness, correcting with facts, and if you really want to message them, do it on like a direct message.
Yeah.
Get it off the page. Go directly and message them. Be like, hey, is there any questions that I can answer for you? Because seems to be a communication problem or misinformation. Is there anything I can help with?
Well, and truly, the guy that I was going
No, I
back
don't
and
want
forth
to.
with, yeah,
I'm right.
I did go on his personal Facebook page, and it seemed like somebody I'd really get along with. Like we had a lot of similarities, and
Mm-hmm.
and then I just kind of was like, I kind of want to just reach out to him again after 24 hours have passed. But it's like that. That's another thing.
Just like, it's me, Kim.
You got to take 24 hours and really, I was exhausted when I was making those posts, exhausted. And a couple of them I definitely regret. And when I brought it up to our board yesterday, kind of like apologizing, and everybody was like, there was nothing bad about it, but it is so hard to, one of the board members said, you got to concentrate on the 90%.
Yep.
That's got to be your focus. And it's really hard to do.
Right.
It's really hard to do.
And if you really don't want to engage with somebody, give them your phone number and say, call me.
Yes,
They're
which
not
I
going to
have.
call you.
Yeah,
9
no.
out of 10 times,
Call
they
me. No.
will not call you.
Yeah.
Except for that one guy that calls you and leaves messages.
Yeah, there's one guy. Yeah. We're friends now.
Are you?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's how did you guys become friends? You just talk it over?
Well, I call him back now when he leaves messages. I didn't used to. And so, because he would just leave, he'd run out of, it would cut him off because he would leave over 2 minutes of voicemail about being angry about something.
Yeah. Well,
And-
he'd be cussing out.
Well, yeah, he would be. And so I've started calling him back and we have a conversation and he's like, oh, okay. And I explain. So at least he's one person. And I even said this, thank you for calling and not going on the internet and blasting this out because, you misunderstood what was happening. And, he was mad about this year. He was mad about the Lucky Duck drop not being in the river. And so I kind of explained that and how we set it up. And there would have been no way to set it up and it would have been dangerous. And
And why didn't you? Why did we not do it in the river?
because the river was so high and it was flooded in
Safety
areas
concern
and big
for
time
the
safety.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we could have been better about sending somebody to the park,
Right.
and just having someone there saying, it's not, in case you didn't see it, it's not, it's canceled. We're going to do an alternative. So, yeah, we definitely learned.
Oh, yeah, you can always improve.
Yep. And yeah, some of the comments that people made were things that I actually printed out and highlighted.
Like, thank you for
yeah, it
bringing
was like,
that up.
that's actually a pretty good idea for next year. So I appreciate when people give us constructive criticism, because as long as they do it in a nice way, because it's, sometimes it's really helpful.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's just, I think it's the kill 'em with kindness thing that probably works.
So
Yeah.
I thought about this the other day. I'm going to give you 2 examples, because this was actually pretty powerful. If you had a new sweatshirt, new t-shirt, right? New piece of clothing, you're wearing it, and you're walking down the street, and someone in person said, hey, I really like your sweatshirt. And you're like, oh, sweet. And let's say you keep walking down the street, and another person says, hey, wow, that's a really cool shirt. And you're like, oh, wow, this is actually pretty sweet. Like, I got 2 people telling me how great this is, right? A third person, like, dude, like, that awesome sweatshirt, where'd you get that? Like, that is so cool. I'm like, oh, wow, like, I'm going to wear this thing every day, right? That's 3 people that said something about your sweatshirt and really liked it, right? Yet, on social media, if you only got like 3 likes on something, or if you only had like 1 comment, it was like, oh, no one liked this thing. This thing wasn't that cool. Or
Your sweatshirt's so ugly.
yeah, but you don't, those are still people liking. So imagine if you just took a second or 5 seconds to leave a like or a comment of good faith, of good, like, whatever, and just having people to also understand, like, the good does outweigh the bad.
It does.
Like, if you had 10 people tell you how great your sweatshirt was when one person was like, stupid. Like,
Yeah.
be like, well, I don't know.
Color's really bad.
10,
Yeah.
10 other people thought it was really awesome.
Yeah.
But if you go to correlate that back over to, like, social media,
Yep.
it's like, oh, like, it doesn't equate the same. Like, it's all of a sudden, like, the 10 likes don't really matter as much. They're not as impactful because, like, in that in-person connection, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, that would be my challenge to all of you, because just like we talked about, people are afraid because of the negative people. But if we can if the positive can outweigh the negative, that would be great. So my challenge would be it really helps small businesses, not just to like it, but comment something positive, to share it, to all those things help.
Sharing
I mean,
Facebook pages.
Yes, and
Yep,
even
go
when
give
you
these guys a
share
like.
it, make a comment, on your own page about it, and just keep it positive. And I mean, that is a challenge.
Right.
Because people just automatically want to jump on you.
Yeah.
But it is so helpful to small businesses.
Right.
So that's a good point.
we have a group of like 10 friends. We're all in the same space of video agency and marketing and stuff. And whenever we post stuff, yeah, like if it's a client's or if our own, like everybody comes in. This isn't like, hey, when I post, I want you to go and comment. It's just a mutual thing where we're all have each other's back. Anything that is done, said, it's all positive, and like you can feel the kindness.
Yeah.
Like especially even like in some of their presence, they're like, this person's really nice, and they share that on social. They share it here. And there's
And you just do that automatically. It's
automatically.
not like, yeah.
Yep.
It's just because it feels good.
Yep.
It feels good to be nice to somebody, and then they feel good. It's
Yes.
Like, just why? bring
Yeah,
people
it makes
down?
you feel good too.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it's not just about the business or,
Right.
yeah.
Like I leave good comments on some of my competitors. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, this
Right.
is really awesome, dude. Like,
You recognize it.
well done.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Yeah.
why would I want to bring you down? Like, you're doing good.
Yep. I know.
I'm competitive, yes. I
Well,
want to
of
beat you in
course,
it, but like, I'm
right.
not going to drag you down.
That's right.
Like, yeah, that's my take.
Yeah, I think that's a great challenge. to
All right,
everybody.
everyone watching, you have to go and like someone's page and leave a comment today.
Yes.
Whether in person or online.
And then share something of
Share
a small
something.
business.
And be nice.
And when you have a positive experience, put it out there. We do that at every morning networking. We have a time where at the networking meeting, we allow people time to give shout outs. And there's always shout outs.
Right.
And so if that was turned into something on social media, even better.
Right.
And today there was a shout out for Abra Auto because somebody had a window replaced. They came to the house, and he said that his grandson was there, and the technician just sat and worked with this little, a 4-year-old or whatever it was, and here's how we do it, and then we do this, and then he went back in the house, and then the guy said, I'll come and get you when I come to the next part, and he did. And so Grandpa was out there videotaping it.
Oh, that
and
is so
then later on,
makes
the
such an
little
impact.
boy, yes, the little boy was like, took these sections and was like, look at it's Grandpa's window, was like sectioning things around the house and stuff. And he had taken
That's
this
so
video, and
cute.
I'm really hoping that
They post
he
it.
can give it to Abra to share it, because that is, talk about customer service.
Right.
And that's way beyond, they did a good job repairing my windshield.
Could you imagine if you shared as much stuff, if it was positive versus negative? Like all
Right.
the negative stuff that people share, like, oh, this was terrible, blah, blah, blah. Or why don't you just post every time something great happens?
Yep.
Or if you work with somebody that was awesome and you shared that.
And there's studies that talk about gratitude and how that changes your life and your goals, and if every day you can be grateful for something. So if you do that on social media, something good happened.
Right.
If
If you only woke up with what you were thankful for yesterday, what would that look like?
Right. Yeah.
What was your win? I do want to make a comment about humor.
Yeah.
And I don't want people to stop with those comments because social media is enlightening. It can turn your bad mood into a good mood. You get sucked down these rabbit holes of hilarious TikToks and Instagram reels, and some things you got, like the witty comments, those have to stay.
I mean, we talked about the one post that downtown Princeton during the Rum River Festival was absolutely insane. Traffic was practically stopped for 3 solid days. There was a 6-story
Story duck.
duck that you could see from really far away. And then there was a comment, what the hell's going on in town?
Yes.
And the comments below were quite funny.
And that
witty.
was the post.
That
was
was the
original
actual
post.
post.
Was what the
Yeah.
hell's going on in Princeton.
Yeah. And so that was just kind of funny.
So there was hilarious comments,
Yeah.
and then when the event on Sunday got canceled because it was windy, somebody else said, "Well, why don't you just move it to Mark Park?" And somebody commented and said, "Is it not windy at Mark Park?"
Right. And the person
That's
was just
funny.
like trying to say it shouldn't even have been downtown, which there was a reason to have it downtown. And the reason was to get people to visit our businesses, and it worked. So that was a
Yes.
huge win for Princeton.
But you see all
But-
these posts, like if you're on social media as much as probably all three of us
Yeah.
are, you'll see comments that like people just go to. They share a post that has nothing, that's somebody getting hurt or probably not even funny, but they share it because they share it and say, read the comments.
Yes.
Like here for the comments.
People are so witty. It's just unbelievable.
And it can just like lighten up your mood. And
It really can.
It's honestly like
So-
it's like a Reddit thread underneath an Instagram post
Yeah.
or a Facebook post. It's a whole article.
Yep. It is. It's like an article.
So if you're one of those out there that make those witty comments to lighten the mood, keep it up.
Yeah, kudos. Yeah. So I just think that, the message for today is treat others like you'd like to be treated, be kind, maybe respond to comments in a just nothing but a positive way. In my case, take 24 hours to think about it before posting. And get out there and like things and share and be positive. And let's turn the 90% to be more active.
And
Yeah.
focus on the positive
Louder.
and not the negative.
Mhm,
Like-
louder. Yep.
Like, it's easy said than done. But
It is.
seriously, like, focus on what is good in your life.
Mm-hmm.
What is positive about this? What if someone, like, think about, put yourself in someone else's shoes just for a second.
Yep.
And just think about how much work went into this. Like, maybe there isn't, like, play the other side, look at it from another angle and just yours.
And
And
perspective.
are you in the wrong?
Right.
'Cause
Is it
we're-
possible?
And it's okay to be wrong.
Yeah. Mhm.
I was just wrong yesterday about something. It was my fault. Like,
Did you hear that, Brittany?
yeah, yeah. But like, just
I was
taking
wrong.
taking accountability for your actions.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And we solved the world's problems today, you guys.
Yeah. And
Amazing.
if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, comment below on instances that you guys have had or how you've handled it or funny stories.
Screenshots of text.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Comments.
Share with us.
Yeah, so we'll see what we get now. Yeah, that'll be fun.
I think we should do another one of these and talk more about how how businesses can use social media
Yes.
in today, and how they can benefit from it. Because I feel like there's a lot of misconception too with businesses and social media and what to do, what not to
Yes,
do. And
I
think
agree.
We could all speak on.
Yep.
And just like we said, there's so many changes constantly, and
Yeah.
things that are, and should I do this, and should I be on that, and do I have to be on every platform? And we can have a
Hashtags,
whole,
no hashtags.
Yes.
What works?
Oh
what
my
doesn't
gosh.
work.
Yeah.
And it's always
What-
changing.
Yeah.
always changing.
Like, do photos do better on Instagram or Facebook?
Yep.
Well,
There's a million things we can talk about.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And our experience.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
good. All right, everybody, get out there and be kind. Until next time, this is Kim, Zach, and Mary signing off. This is Princeton. Stay here,
Play here.
Podcast produced by Kitzman Creations, music by Charles Moe. Be sure to subscribe to the Princeton Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Also, to view our awkward moments, check us out on our YouTube channel and visit us at www.thisisprincetonmn.co.